Hello everyone, my name is Anant Sarma. I have over 15 years of experience with Windows infrastructure. I worked with different roles: IT support engineer, senior system administrator, IT team lead, consultant. I am going to discuss total 23 questions, which I have divided into four main sections: fundamental Windows Server, additional skills, and few scenario based questions. In this video, I am going to discuss only fundamental ones. Let's start. Explain the difference between local and domain accounts in Windows. I don't think nowadays anyone is using local accounts, but that's also very important to understand. The local account is limited to a single computer. It can be a workstation, it can be a server. And if we need to manage these local accounts, it has to be on the local system, local computer, or local server. If we are talking about access, that local account can access resource only available within that specific computer. So managing these local accounts is very simple, but these are less secure and it's prone to inconsistencies because if we have thousands of computers, it will be very difficult to manage those. What are domain accounts? Domain accounts are created on domain. Those accounts can access resource and services on all the computers which is part of that domain. We create domain accounts using Active Directory, which is a directory server which we will discuss later. The access to resource is managed using groups and policies defined in Active Directory. So it's more secure, it's a centrally managed. What is Active Directory and what is its functions? Active Directory is a directory service. It's developed by Microsoft for Windows Domain Network. It's a central repository for all the information about the objects within the network. And those objects can be a user, computer, a workstation, a server, group, organizational units, subnet, saved folders, applications. What are the key functions of Active Directory? User can log in once and they can access all the resources available within that domain. Managing users, groups, and permissions is very easy. We can use it for a small business and also for the large enterprises. We can enforce policies, access control, security measures. We can use group policy objects which can apply settings and configurations to users and computers. What are the benefits of using Active Directory? Improved security, simplified management, scalability, consistency. What can be its limitations? It can be complex to manage an Active Directory infrastructure, which needs technical expertise. How do you manage user accounts and permissions in Windows? So now we can have two kinds of users: local users and domain users. If we need to manage local user, we can go to accounts through settings in Windows 11 and 10, or we can go to control panel and then go to accounts and manage user. There is another tool, local users and groups. There is a command lusrmgr.msc which opens up local users and groups management console. If it is Active Directory, we use Active Directory users and computers management console. We can use group policy object to define settings and policies which applies to users and computers. We can also use PowerShell to manage users. There are several third-party tools also which can manage users. There are several things that we need to take into account, that when we create user, the user have least privilege. There is a password policy in place which forces user to change their password in intervals. It might be 90 days, 60 days, depending on the policies. We should also set up an account monitoring and then also a regular backup to prevent data loss. What are group policy objects and how are they used? We can understand group policy object as a container for settings and policies that applies to users, computers, or a group within the network, within domain. If we go to group policy management console, we will find computer configuration, user configuration, administrative template. How do we create group policy object? We need to go to group policy management console, create a GPO and link that GPO to any organizational unit that needs that settings and policies. Using GPOs makes our life easy by making it a centralized management. It reduces administrative overhead, improves security, and it's scalable. What are the examples of GPUs? Password policy, restricting any website or applications, installing software automatically on all the computers, configuring desktop settings like wallpaper, or deploying printer to a specific group of users. Describe the different types of file systems in Windows. Most commonly used file system is NTFS, and it's used on all the modern Windows system. So if you see any laptops, that laptop will have NTFS. It offers robust features like file permission, encryption, journaling. It's very ideal for primary drives, internal storage, large capacity external drives. 532 is older, simple file system. We'll find FAT32 mostly on USB SD card because it's compatible across different operating systems. It's not recommended for primary storage because of its limitations and lack of security features. What are some common troubleshooting steps for user login issues? Most of the organizations are now using Active Directory, so it's mostly related to domain account. Check if credentials are correct, if user is entering correct username and password. Check if there is a network connectivity problem, if user is trying to access any resource over network, and if a resource is available. Check if keyboard has some problem. Look for any error message. The common error message will be account is locked. What can we do to resolve? Unlock account in Active Directory if account is locked. If user has forgot password, reset password. Verify if user account exists in Active Directory and have necessary permissions. How do you backup and restore important system data? There are some built-in Windows tools like file history, system image that we can use to backup files and folders. There are some third-party backup software that we can use. like Beam, Acronis True Image, EasyUS, Veritas. We can run these backups manually or we can also automate these backups. For restoring data, we can browse to the individual files and folders and we can restore. For system image restore, we need to boot the workstation or server from the backup media and then we have to choose the desired restore point. Third-party software usually provides dedicated interface for the restoration. Explain the basic concepts of network connectivity and troubleshooting. Let's first understand network connectivity. Network consists of devices that connects through cable or wireless signals that use the hardware like switches, routers, and access points. The data packet flows through network and they use IP address. The internet often comes through router, modem. How to start troubleshooting? First of all, identify the problem. Define the issue clearly. Check if there is no internet connection at all, or if internet is slow, or devices are not connecting to the internet. Check the device setting. Check the network configuration. Look for any error message. Look for any recent changes. Try to isolate the issue. Use different devices. Rule out any specific hardware or software problem. Check the obvious things first, like check cables, check connections, power, basic settings. Use diagnostic tools. Use ping in command prompt. Use traceroute. What are the common troubleshooting techniques that we can use? Restart device. Verify network settings. Check if IP address is correct. Subnet mask and gateway is correct. Check for malware. Run antivirus scan. Update drivers. Use different cables or port. Test internet connection coming from router or modem. What are some best practices for physical server security? Most of the time, servers will be placed in server room or a data center. Make sure the access to server room or data center is restricted. It's monitored by security camera. It has very limited access. It's using biometric authentication or two-factor authentication for entry. Access to server room or data center is monitored, tracked. Maintain proper temperature, humidity. Make sure there is a fire extinguisher. Use surge protector. Use UPS system. Make sure server is secured on the rack using screw or locks. Make sure server has a strong BIOS password. Update firmware regularly. Disable any unused ports. Secure data by using encryption. Do regular backup. Use a strong password. Do regular security audits. Update server software regularly. Monitor server activity using logs. Have a disaster recovery plan.